Okay, now how will you create a user? So the statement that is there here, whatever statement is there to create, and another one is GUI. Even if you create it on GUI, you can script it out. So you are creating. If it's a domain ID, you have to put it here search, okay, and then you put here. This is my computer name. You have to put here domain ID, and then if you domain name, and then if you put here domain name in the location, you there will be domain similar to the image that I showed you, like this name demo.local or something like that will come here. Okay, and you will select that, and if you select it, you will see and then you have to go here, and then you will see service ID as well. Group all the group service IDs, check all of them. Okay, whenever you are searching, check all of them so that nothing get missed. Otherwise, if you don't select service ID, you will miss service ID. If the ID is service ID, you will not be able to know to. So make sure you select all this, and then you put here the name. Domain ID is like say ISB, and then slash, and then Talukdar or something, or maybe Abu Talukdar. Okay, so this is the way you create Windows ID. SQL ID, you just name the type. What is the name? And then you put here test 123, and then you put some password and click OK. So this statement will come with that and will be created. If you want what script will be applied, you click on script and script will be generated here. Okay, so you can use that as well. Okay, so this is the test login we have created, and then with that we can grant access. For Active Directory, you just need to right click and create that. I can show you in a different way, though you will not see it in your computer. So this is the local user and group on computer management, but you will see certain a tool like this that I showed you here on the picture of domain Active Directory. It's pretty similar. This is for domain, and this is for local computer. Okay, local computer user. To create local user, you have to come here, and then you right click and you create new user, or you create a group and then add user into it. So I have created one group that is Abu, and then on that I just added members, and you can add members, and then you can add that Windows ID to here. Okay, so we have created test one, I think. So here we have selected, this is my computer name, and this is test one user that we created in our local laptop, and then this user is identified. This is not a SQL login. This is a local computer login that we created. It's a Windows login. Type is Windows, but it's not a domain ID. It's our local. It's the user is created in our local laptop. So our local computer, you can consider that. This is not a domain ID. So domain ID has to be created from domain controller. This way you can create that. The syntax for domain controller will be similar like that. So this is the syntax to create a Windows user. Okay, and other syntax was there for SQL ID. So okay, so far we can grant user access through Windows ID, and then Windows plus SQL ID. Authentication has been can be selected from this screen. And then there are other things we need to know a little bit, that to interact with different computers in a network, you have to add, configure the authentication. So for computer communication, there are two authentication protocol are used, that is Kerberos and then NTLM. Kerberos authentication is generally used for computer communication, but you can also use NTLM, but this is not very useful for link server, or if you want to query between two servers. This is not that much reliable. So generally people use Kerberos. And then the protocol that is there within Kerberos, like to transfer data into between computers or public communication, these are the protocols that are used. And so all this we will be able to select in SQL Server Configuration Manager. Generally, we select the TCP/IP protocol. So this is SQL Server Configuration Manager. This will look like this on server, real server, and then you have shared memory, named pipe, TCP/IP. So you will basically make sure that TCP/IP is enabled. I would say all of them via it's an old one, so we don't need that. Shared memory and named pipe you can also keep enabled for communication. Okay. Now, how will you check whether it's NTLM or Kerberos authentication? So it's important to make sure whenever you see a server, you verify the authentication, and if you run the select statement, it will tell you like for server communication, what are the authentication. So you may not see in your laptop because it's like not a domain based. So this is the statement you need to run, and this is the result that you will see if the Kerberos is authentication. If you see NTLM, you need to make sure the SPN server service principal name is configured. So you have to request your domain manager that to check it, and these are the protocols for verifying the SPN configuration. You just need to request your domain admin person that to configure the Kerberos for the communication between computers. And the setting will be there as like server name, and then with a fully qualified domain name, and then port number if you are using port number. So one thing you need to remember that SA is if you're using SQL Server, it's very easy to hack a system or access the database. So you need to make sure SA system admin, that is SQL, when you install, the screen will come, and you already provided when you install mix mode, and then specify password for system admin SA account. You put this password, and then it basically comes here SA. So you need to make sure you change that to a different name. So whenever you configure a server, you need to make sure you click on SQL Server Configuration Manager from your server. You find that, and then you all you have to do is like make sure you go here, okay, and you change all this to enabled. You can expand that, and whatever is there, you will see other protocols for named pipe. Just enable them as well. So with this statement, you will be able to see, so net user and then slash and then domain name, just not domain name, just type domain, and then that user's name in the domain. If you put that and enter on command prompt, this is the command prompt. If you put this statement in command prompt, so if you want to query an ID, this ID belongs to which group, which Active Directory group, you will get all this information. So this will be very useful once you start working on security. So whenever you have SQL Server, what you will see, this is your SQL Server, and these are the login list of logins. So on the bottom you can see all the system generated. This is for local server admin and administration, so it will be internal for SQL Server. Okay, and these two are system generated as well for SQL Server. These are your ID. Now these are, if you don't see any slash behind that slash, you can see here slash domain name. So if you see just the username, that means it's a SQL ID. Okay, SA is SQL ID, SQL ID. Okay, that gets created on login on the SQL Server. So you right click or create the SQL login. But this domain IDs, these have to be created on the Windows, and then those access has to be granted now from SQL. So there will be service ID from domain, there will be individual ID like me and you, your ID, and then our group, there will be group created. Like as you can see, based on database, I have created group, read only group, database name and group, read only or write. So any member that is included on there will be able to read or will be able to write. Now database security model. So what you have is like you have server role which has ability to do certain activity on the server, SQL server itself. On the other hand, you have database role. So based on this role, you can do database activity like read, write, data, okay, and then execute anything, any store procedure or anything. So this permissions will be there, and then there are some built-in server roles and database role. There are user defined. So you create some server role and grant access into it. Okay, we will check that. So these are the server role that you have. Basically sysadmin, you have security admin, bulk admin, you can do bulk activities. We will see the features. So first of all, you have bulk operation. Bulk operation means you have a text file and that has data on it, lot of data on it. You want to import all the data from text file to SQL server. You want to do the data migration, this kind of thing. To perform that, you need this bulk admin permission. This will allow you to create databases. So if any user has the access server role DB creator, that person will be able to have access. Disk admin, this is not generally used. The mostly used are this other one, the security admin or bulk admin, DB creator. Server admin is frequently used, and setup admin it's for link server. Sysadmin is obviously people will be requesting for that for any service or application to run sometimes depending on their requirements. So this is the highest access, and then security admin is there, and then DB creator, disk admin. You can alter all the resources, and then process admin is like if you want to see any activities that are going on the server. So process admin is one of the access you can grant. And then out of other access, this is very sensitive access, security admin, that if you have the security admin, you can change anybody's admin to sysadmin, and you can even do whatever activities you want to do. So most powerful is this, and sometimes we will require to grant access to users sysadmin rights. So these are the access. That is fixed server role. Now you can create your own server role. So we can see that. So for instance, this is Windows ID, and we want to grant access. So what we will do, how we will grant the access. So server role, and then from here anything you can grant. Okay, bulk admin, DB creator, sysadmin access, and then you can script it out. You can script out, and if you click on script, all the script will be there, and you can use that on your job, SQL job. We'll see that. So if you want, you can create your own Abu server role. So that has been created. Now I am logged in here as test. So this is the user I'm logged in right now, and this is my another user. So this is a SQL ID that doesn't have permission to see anything on the server, activity on the server. Now if I run this statement, this DM allows me to see some internal activity information. So I'm getting like a denied permission. So I have to grant permission to see that, and for that I have to grant grant view server state to now directly I can assign that, but difficult thing will be, it will be very difficult to identify. Now after that, what we will do, so Abu has so I've granted this role, the test role, granted the role that I created. So I have created this server role. First of all, I will grant access view server state. So this permission is a server level permission. So I will grant this access to the role that I created. Okay, so it will have access to this role, and then whoever gets this role, okay, whoever I assign this role will be able to see the activity. Now what I will do, I will just go there as an administrator. I will just add database role, server role Abu to this test one. So I just granted that. Now I will see whether he can run this permission. So if I click there, now it's working fine. If I take it out from there, the server role, Abu server role, then that person will not be able to run the statement anymore. Okay, so that is like your own server role. Same thing will be working as database role. We will see that. So database role, so for fixed database role, there are several roles. I will just display that. Hold on for a second. So these are the fixed database role. You generally use DB owner, so which will have all the activities, all the permissions, and then DDL admin schema permission fully, so you can change any schema there. And then data reader, you can read data, any data, writer data, and then deny writer, and then deny reader or anything like that. You can create your own, like execute, and you can grant permission, execute permission on all objects to that role. You can do whatever you want, creating your own role. So we will see how we can create our own role. We will see first where these are database roles are located. So each database, if you go here, you will see each database has security, and then it has role. So these are database role are fixed role that are frequently used. You grant access normally to this. Okay, and then it can do certain activities. Deny, basically, if you put deny, even some a user belong to a group and that has access, if you select on the other group like deny, and that person is belong to both deny and grant group, deny will work. So if you put anywhere deny, even other group, he or she is a member of other group which has access, any full access, it will not work. So deny will not, read will not work. The person will not be able to read anything. So that's what I implied. So whenever you want to grant access to any user, what you can do is you select the user, test, and then you can grant access. Okay, DBA, and then data reader, data writer, and then deny whatever. If you select deny, that person will not be able to read. So just you, and if you have any database role, that will come, and you can grant that access. And if you want to see the script, you click on script and you will be able to see how the statement works. Now do not grant access using this. We will have a procedure that we will learn, and then we will grant access this way. If you want to apply script directly, you can write it that way too. But it's better to have it in a job, SQL job that will run schedule basis. Okay, how to create your own database role. So right click on the role, database role, create database role, name DBA, Abu DB role, and then you go to securable, you search, and then all object type, you click OK. So all objects will be coming. You create, select, view, and then store procedure or function, whatever you want to select. Okay, just this is enough to see the, so it has come. So all the objects are here. Now you can grant access to anything you want. You can deny on that. Okay, you have store procedures, and then you can grant execute permission on the store procedure. Grant execute, so that person can or alter permission or control. Okay, view definitions means like just that person will be able to see the structure but cannot do any activity. So what is the syntax of the schema? To see that, that person has to select view definition permission. And these are the script for that. You can see if you click on script, grant view definition on this role to somebody else. You create that role, and then just like you will go to another user and you will add that role on it. Now a login is there, login abo. How you can deny a login? So you want to disable or deny the login. So you go to the properties of the login, you right click, go to the and go to status, and then you can just select this. I can show you here. So you have login, and then right click on the login properties, and if you don't want user to access, you can just disable that, or somehow it's locked, because if somebody put wrong password, it will be automatically in locked status. Okay, so you will see locked out, so you can that time you can unlock it, or you have logins, you can grant, deny, whatever is you want to do. How will grant access to users? So we'll generally use dynamic SQL for that, to grant the access. So this is one of the dynamic SQL. So let's say you want to grant a user. I have a user here. Username is test user. Okay, so test. I want to grant access. So what I will do here, I will just replace that with the test, and then everywhere it will be replaced. Okay, and then it will grant access to the test. And then here I have mentioned what are the database that will not be included. So remaining all the database, it will have access. What kind of access I will grant? Here the script is there for granting access that has a role of data reader. So this is data reader, this is data writer. So all the database, it will have data reader and data writer. So first part is data reader. Any database role you want to grant, this is the database role, and then with that syntax. And if you want to add more, just copy this block and then paste it here, and then you can add more here. Okay, so all you have to do is change the database role and then grant the access. And if you want to see what script is there, you need to write print at SQL, and it will tell you the script, dynamic SQL script. So you can see that way too. Here I have commented that out. So I just have executed it. So as you can see, for all this database, database 2, pubs database, student database, it has everywhere read and write access automatically. So this script will grant access automatically to users, and then what you have to do is you have to create a job, and this is the job. So right click, new job, and then job name, DBA job grant access, and then name is there, that's fine, you will just put it there. We'll see about job, and you put the script here, parse it, and then put a name here, not one or something, and then you schedule that. So you schedule that every, let's say 1 hour. So access will be granted every 1 hour. So if for any reasons access is removed, it will be detected. And whenever you need to remove somebody's access, you have to come here and then check what access is there, and then you need to remove that way. So obviously you can remove it. So the role is there to deselect this. So same script you will be using. If you deselect that, there will be script. So for example, if you have access, not this one, I think test. So deselect it. So as you can see, drop user. So from that database you have to create another dynamic SQL to drop it, or you can manually do that, and then if you are manually removing it, or you can delete the entire login if you want, and then if you are planning to remove entire access selectively, you need to manually do that user by user, or you can write dynamic SQL like this. And then from here, from this job, you need to change it as well. You need to remove whatever access. Otherwise, even if you remove it, it will reproduce the access again.